Hey everybody, it's Lynn from A Bit of Birdsong. I don't know if you can hear the wind. I am out in my little workshop that I sometimes lovingly refer to as Paper Town. I've worked all day. I came home, checked on the cats, and Jason has a gig tonight, so he is in another town right now. I miss him when he's not here. But I thought it would be a good time to share today's journal entry. And let's just get over to that. I tried to do a video this morning and I didn't have enough time. I did want to show you though that the sketches from yesterday, they've stayed in really well, and I like the way that turned out. You can hear the neighbor's dog. So turning over to today's spread, I've got these just sort of gently in here because I want to make sure this glue is completely dry. I finished this spread tonight. So let me just talk a little bit about this page. I think it turned out really pretty. I love the colors. Going all the way down to the bottom layer, let me move all of this. This page is one that I found at the scrap exchange. There were several of these and it looked photocopied. It looks like someone just did a sketch of the skull, and I don't know if it was a medical thing or some kind of science thing. We've got the little numbers here and the different segments, and then this says wider, 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 wider. I'm not sure, and I cannot read. I can't read that. I'm not sure what that says. I've got my date. On top of it, I had just a bit of information that I printed from brooklynmuseum.org, and it is about the young lady named Gillis Duncan. That's G-E-I-L-L-I-S. She was one of the first ones tried in the North Berwick witch trials. And it would take, you could talk about this for hours and hours. I don't want to bore anyone by turning this into a long history lesson or whatever. But I think a lot of it started around this time as far as just the wild, crazy witch hunts across Europe. Part of what happened during this time, and of course King James I is the one who commissioned or instructed that the Bible be put together for common people. He, at that time, like around this time frame, Gillis Duncan died in 1591. So James, he was James VI of Scotland, but he was James I of England. He had sent for his bride, who was Anne of Denmark, and she would become the queen. But the seas were so stormy that she didn't make it. I think that's right. And then he had to go, of course, across water to retrieve her. There were stormy seas just every trip, it seemed like, and what people got in their minds and kind of convinced King James of was that witchcraft was to blame. There were witch trials in Denmark over this, and it's like that whole mindset and sort of poison pattern of chasing people and interrogating them and trying to stamp out witchcraft, that followed James back to Scotland. So the North Berwick witch trials were some of the worst. And this is a bit of trivia or a bit of history. I did not know this, but James I wrote a book called Demonology, and it was a book about witches and witchcraft. It was based on scripture and his interpretation of things. The book was about what constitutes a witch and how to hunt for witches, things that will prove if a witch is really a witch. The things I read said that he meant it not only to be able to find and convict witches, but also to protect the innocent. Of course, there were some people who took this sort of direction from him, and they ran with it and they used it to their own, I won't say to their own good, they used it to their own purposes. So this young Gillis Duncan, this is what I have. And this is directly from the website, brooklynmuseum.org. The date of birth is unknown. She died 1591 in North Berwick. Gillis Duncan, a maidservant in North Berwick, Scotland, was accused by her employer of witchcraft after he observed her skill in curing the ill, which he deemed unnaturally miraculous. and her employer, this same man, he was a deputy bailiff, took charge of the examination. She was arrested in 1589, confessed under torture, and executed. Duncan named many other witches, and the event sparked a series of trials and executions that are now known as the North Berwick Witch Trials, which were sanctioned by King James VI. And you would wonder, well, why would somebody confess and why would they name other people? The way one person put it is that a red hot poker will really focus your attention. So I think when you've been tortured and your captors are putting an idea in front of you, wanting you to admit to it, including that you've done something wrong or that maybe this person or that person was involved. A lot of sources say that the torture was so great that a lot of people confessed just because they'd rather die than to continue with it. That's really heavy. But again, I wanted this journal to be about witches. I am coming into this soon with a storyline that's not going to be so heavy, but I love history like this. This kind of thing should never be repeated, and I'm afraid that even today, people are not treated fairly. I did want some history in here. Even if it seems heavy, this is my journal, and this is the stuff that I want to have in here so that when I look back, I have some things that are factual. This postcard, this is some artwork done by an artist, George de la Tour. They may say George, I don't know how that is pronounced, but he has done some famous work. This painting would have been a mere 50 years after Gillis Duncan was executed. This George de la Tour, he has done several famous things, including a painting called The Cheat. There's one called The Fortune Teller. This is a picture of Saint Irene attending to Saint Sebastian. One of the reasons I included it in this is just to tie in with my thoughts about this spread. First of all, the colors are lovely and they go so well with this journal. The dark colors, the orange, but the time frame. This is what we could expect the scenery to look like in the houses, in the places where these ladies were just pulled from their homes. And it wasn't always ladies, there were men too. So these are some cards I have that I just love the images on this. I love studying herbal medicine. We've got field mint, herb Robert, plantain, huckleberry, coltsfoot, comfrey. Comfrey has alkaloids similar to the henbane over here, and cattail. I wanted to put these cards in because I just cannot imagine that you might have someone during this time period who would have knowledge, whether it is just, you know, a God-given gift, or whether it's from knowing about plants, or just having, you know, a calming presence, maybe easing the suffering of someone, and then people are going to construe it as the devil's work. I mean, look at this picture. There's no 911. There's not a comfortable bed. There's no electricity. I'm sure the rooms, the homes were not controlled in any way that we are familiar with as far as temperature and comfort. So I just needed this on this page to show what the time would have looked like during these witch trials of the 1500s and 1600s. And I put these cards in. Gillis Duncan, I wish that we could see what she looked like. There's a lot of speculation about why her employer did what he did. He could have been infatuated with her. She may have been leaving at night to meet a lover. I mean, nobody really knows. But I think he witnessed her going out and he was very upset about it. And really, you know what? It was none of his business. If she was not his wife, anyway, that just, it makes me so angry. So then we have a little map here of North Berwick. So is there anything else about today's page that I can tell you? I did want to tell you this page, this is kind of fun to do. If you take a piece of paper, any weight, you know, light or heavier, and you kind of just crinkle it up, you can take your ink pad and run across it, and it's going to catch all the high places. So it gives a really neat effect. I'm pressing too hard in some spots. And then what I did after that was just to go back with a paintbrush and take some of that ink and spread it to the lower portions of the paper. And you know me, I don't mind a mess, so if it gets on some other stuff, that's okay. If I have areas that I don't want to get messed up, I'm careful with those, but I like grungy and I kind of like making a mess, so it's okay. That is my entry for today. I'm sorry I didn't get this up this morning, but I'm here now. I had a really good day, saw a lot of fun things, met some bookmakers at the shop, at the store today, at the beautiful Scrap Exchange. If any of you are on here, it was really nice talking to you. Thank you so much to new subscribers. I am so happy that you're here. Please comment. Please, you know, talk amongst yourselves, as they say. I love the community that we have here and just the friendship and the kindness. I appreciate it so much, and welcome. So I will see you very soon with a spread for October 5th. Bye for now.